There is a silence falling over the vast plains of the American Midwest and the red dust of the Australian outback. It is a mournful, heavy silence. It is the sound of the V8 engine dying. For 50 years, the pickup truck was more than just a tool made of steel and rubber. It was a sacred covenant. It was a blood pact between the manufacturer and the working man. The deal was simple. We give you our hard-earned money, and you give us a machine built of iron, with a large displacement engine that will outlive our grandchildren. For decades, Ford, Chevrolet, and Toyota honored this deal. They gave us the 5.0-liter Windsor. They gave us the 1HZ diesel. They gave us machines that rumbled at idle and could pull a mountain without breaking a sweat. But then, somewhere in the glass towers of Detroit and Tokyo, the executives decided to betray us. They looked at the V8 engine, the beating heart of the working class, and they called it obsolete. They looked at the large V6 and called it inefficient. In the name of emissions, compliance, and ruthless cost-cutting, they stripped away the cylinders. They handed us stressed, high-pressure, matcha aluminum block 4-cylinder engines that sound like sewing machines and told us to be grateful. They replaced the deep rumble of displacement with the whine of cheap turbochargers. They told us that a 2.0-liter engine in a 3-ton vehicle was progress. It was a lie. It was a catastrophic betrayal of engineering principles. We feel it every time a Ford Ranger hunts for gears on a highway gradient because it lacks torque. We feel it every time a Toyota Hilux rattles and vibrates like a tractor from the 1950s. Because they refused to update the block, the West gave up on us. They decided that the era of the powerful, mechanical truck was over. But they forgot to tell China. While the legacy brands were busy dismantling their heritage, Great Wall Motor was busy studying it. They realized that the world didn't want smaller engines. We were starving for power. And so, they built the GWM Cannon Alpha Hi4-T. This is not just a new model year. This is a declaration of war. It is the machine that brings the massive twin-turbo V6 back from the dead, fuses it with military-grade electrification, and exposes the Ford Ranger Raptor for what it really is, an overpriced toy. The king is dead. Long live the emperor. To understand the magnitude of the humiliation that Toyota is facing, we must look at the metallurgy under the hood. If you open the bonnet of a 2026 Toyota Hilux, you are looking at an artifact. You are looking at a cast-iron diesel block that operates on compression ignition technology that hasn't fundamentally changed since the Second World War. It is loud. It creates massive vibration harmonics. It requires AdBlue. It clogs its own particulate filters, DPF. It is a maintenance nightmare disguised as reliability. Now, let us look at the GWM Cannon Alpha. The engine code is 6E30. It is a 3.0-liter, twin-turbocharged V6 petrol engine. But this is not a simple engine. It is a masterclass in thermal management. It utilizes the Miller cycle combustion process, which keeps the intake valve open during the compression stroke to maximize thermal efficiency, achieving numbers that rival the best engines from BMW. It uses a dual injection system, both port fuel injection and gasoline direct injection, specifically to wash the intake valves with fuel, eliminating the carbon buildup that destroys modern Ford EcoBoost engines, while Toyota gives you a single variable nozzle turbo that lags at low RPM. GWM gives you dual electronically controlled turbochargers that spool instantly. The result is a mechanical smoothness that a diesel engine simply cannot achieve physically. At idle, the Hilux shakes the steering wheel. At idle, the Cannon Alpha is so smooth you can balance a coin on the engine cover. This is not just about power, it is about refinement. It is about realizing that for 40 years, we have been accepting agricultural noise levels because we thought we had no choice. GWM just proved that a work truck can have the heart of a grand tourer. The sheer audacity of building a new V6 in 2026, while everyone else is downsizing, proves that China is now the guardian of internal combustion, not its executioner. The greatest lie currently being sold to the Australian and American public is the mild hybrid. Toyota is spending millions of dollars on advertising to convince you that their 48-volt system in the Hilux is a hybrid. In engineering terms, this is fraudulent. It is a belt-driven starter generator that adds a negligible amount of torque and cannot drive the vehicle under electric power. It is a sticker, not a system. The GWM Cannon Alpha exposes this scam by deploying the 9-hat transmission. This is a proprietary 9-speed hydraulic automatic transmission with a high-voltage P2 electric motor integrated inside the transmission housing, between the engine disconnect clutch and the torque converter. This is the holy grail of drivetrain layouts. Why? Because of torque fill. In a standard diesel truck, when the transmission shifts gears, there is a momentary loss of power. The turbo pressure drops. You feel a lurch. In the Cannon Alpha, during that millisecond shift, the electric motor fires a pulse of pure torque into the driveline. The shift becomes imperceptible. The acceleration becomes a continuous, relentless wall of force. You have the instant response of an EV combined with the top-end screaming power of a twin-turbo V6. It produces a combined 750 Newton-meters of torque. To put that in perspective, that is more torque than a Dodge Viper V10. And it delivers this power with a level of sophistication that makes the 10-speed transmission in the Ford Ranger feel like a bag of loose bolts. This transmission allows the V6 engine to shut off completely while coasting at highway speeds or while crawling in traffic, saving massive amounts of fuel without the driver ever noticing. It is seamless brutality. The pickup truck was held hostage by a piece of technology from the horse and carriage era, the leaf spring. Manufacturers like Toyota, Nissan, and Isuzu told us that we needed leaf springs for toughness. They told us that coil springs were for cars. This was a lie designed to save money. Leaf springs are cheap to manufacture, but they are terrible for vehicle dynamics. They cause axle wrap under heavy acceleration, where the axle tries to rotate itself, twisting the spring. They cause the rear end to chatter and lose traction on corrugated dirt roads. They create a ride quality that punishes the human spine. The GWM Cannon Alpha rejects this cost-cutting measure. It utilizes a sophisticated multi-link rear suspension with heavy-duty coil springs and a panhard rod for lateral location. This is the same suspension architecture used by the Ram 1500, the best riding truck in America. By using rigid links to locate the axle, the GWM engineers can control the suspension geometry precisely. They can separate lateral forces from vertical forces. The result is a truck that handles corrugations like a rally car, not a cart. The rear end tracks true. The tires maintain contact with the ground. And critically, when you tow a 3-ton trailer, the multi-link setup provides superior stability against sway, making it safer than the stiff, bouncing rear end of a Hilux. The defenders of the old way are simply defending their own suffering. The leaf spring belongs in a museum, and GWM has finally signed its death warrant. The argument that coils can't carry weight is dead. The Cannon Alpha carries payload just fine, but it does so without breaking your back. The defining characteristic of a work truck used to be its ability to carry tools, but in 2026, tools have changed. We use battery-powered saws, electric welders, laptops, and drones. The old diesel truck is useless for this. It is a dead lump of metal that requires you to carry a separate, noisy petrol generator to power your site. The GWM Cannon Alpha fundamentally redefines the utility of the pickup truck by integrating a 37 kilowatt-hour ternary lithium battery pack into the chassis rails. This is not just for driving. It is a mobile power station. With a 3.3 kilowatt V2L, vehicle-to-load discharge capacity, this truck can run an entire construction site. You can plug in your drop saws, your lighting rigs, and your chargers directly into the tailgate. You can weld in the middle of the desert. You can run an air compressor in total silence. For the camper and the overlander, this is a revolution. You can run an air conditioner in your tent all night long, powered by the truck's battery, without the engine ever turning on. You wake up to silence, not the smell of diesel fumes. This capability destroys the argument that the Hilux is more practical. A truck that can power your house during a blackout is infinitely more practical than a truck that can only burn fuel. Toyota says this technology is too expensive for the mass market. GWM just proved they are lying. They are giving you energy independence, effectively killing the portable generator market in the process. Sometimes, innovation isn't about complex electronics. It's about simple geometry. For 100 years, the tailgate of a pickup truck has opened one way, down. This creates a barrier. If you want to reach something deep in the bed, you have to lean over the tailgate, straining your back, or climb up into the bed like a child. Ram tried to fix this with the multi-function tailgate, but it was expensive and rare. GWM has democratized this with the split tailgate on the Cannon Alpha. A quick press of a button, and the barn doors split open down the middle. This allows you to walk right up to the rear bumper. You can load heavy items directly onto the bed floor without reaching over a barrier. A forklift can place a pallet deeper into the bed. It transforms the usability of the cargo area. Why didn't Toyota think of this? Why didn't Ford standardize this? Because they were lazy. Because they assumed you would buy their trucks anyway. GWM looked at how people actually use trucks and solved a problem that has existed for a century. It is a small detail, but it speaks volumes about the philosophy of the company. They are not just copying, they are iterating and improving on the original design. It makes the standard slab tailgate of the Ranger look primitive. For decades, the Australian tradie and the American contractor accepted a harsh reality. If you bought a work truck, you accepted an interior made of hard, scratchy plastic. You accepted seats that hurt your back after 4 hours. We called it rugged. In reality, it was just cheap. Toyota became the richest car company on earth by selling us 1990s interiors at 2026 prices. The GWM Cannon Alpha exposes this scam. Step inside, and the smell hits you. Napa leather, real aluminum. Double-glazed acoustic glass that shuts out the world. GWM has applied library level, NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness standards to the cabin. They used active engine mounts that counter-vibrate to cancel out the V6 rumble. They used active noise cancellation through the speakers, similar to high-end headphones, to delete road noise. The rear seats don't just fold. They recline electrically with heating and ventilation. This is not a work truck interior. This is a Mercedes S-Class with a bed. It asks a dangerous question to every Hilux owner. Why are you paying $70,000 to sit on cheap fabric, listen to wind noise, and stare at a low-resolution screen? The GWM doesn't just beat the competition. It embarrasses them by showing us how much profit Toyota has been hoarding for themselves while giving us inferior products. The silence inside this cabin at 110 kilometers per hour is not just a luxury. It is a safety feature that reduces driver fatigue on long hauls. For 30 years, we paid the CAD Toyota tax. We paid 20% more for a Hilux or a Tacoma because we believed we were buying superior engineering. We forgave the hard plastic interiors. We forgave the noisy engines. We forgave the lack of technology. We told ourselves it was the price of durability. But looking at the GWM Cannon Alpha Hi4-T, that justification evaporates. It is objectively, mathematically, and mechanically superior to the machines we have worshipped. It has a stronger block made of compacted graphite iron, the same material used in heavy-duty commercial diesels. It has a better transmission. It has superior suspension geometry. It has better sound insulation. And it offers energy independence. The legacy brands are terrified because they know they cannot compete on hardware anymore. They can only compete on brand loyalty, but loyalty has a limit. When the Chinese truck is faster, stronger, more comfortable, and more capable, the badge on the grille stops mattering. The American and Australian truck owner asked for the ultimate machine. We asked for a V6. We asked for power. And ironically, the only country that listened was China. The betrayal of the West is complete. The revolution of the East has begun. And for the first time in history, the best pickup truck in the world does not speak English. It speaks the universal language of torque. The reign of the Toyota Hilux is over. Welcome to the New World Order.